Hey, Hat-Tricks fans, welcome to another episode of Catching Up with McCreary. I'm Hat-Tricks broadcaster Doug Lattuca with Hat-Tricks head coach and general manager Billy McCreary. Billy, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Can't complain. A lot of home games coming up for the Hat-Tricks. It starts with 3 straight this weekend, Friday and Saturday against Elmira, then Sunday Binghamton comes to town. Let's backtrack a little bit to last weekend. Pretty successful trip for you guys to Watertown, 7 of a possible 9 points. What happened there? What did you feel? And what led to you guys coming away with a couple wins?
I just think the boys committed to really playing a simple game, and when we're simple, we're effective. And they competed hard throughout the weekend. It was good for us to get through that on a 3-game set, because you're going to have to go through that in a playoff type atmosphere. So that was kind of our focus. It was game 1, game 2, game 3 type of mindset for us. And we dropped game 1 in overtime, so we knew we had to buckle down. And the guys certainly made that decision, and you saw the results.
You guys had a bit of a losing skid. You mentioned the overtime loss. On Saturday and Sunday, completely different story. Offense came alive in both of those games, the power play specifically. Was there a specific moment from that weekend where you saw kind of a flip of the switch and a change into more of Hat-Tricks hockey and everyone feeling a little more comfortable out there?
I think it was just our process on Saturday morning. Again, we were going into Friday night with a mindset of, it's game 1 of the playoffs for us, and we wanted to win that game and get off on the right foot, and we dropped it. So, we knew we were in a win or die type of situation. That's how they approached it. That's how we approached it. And you certainly saw that Saturday night. And I thought the guys did a really good job on Sunday, just replicating that same effort. But again, it's their mindset. It was game 3. It wasn't game 40 for us. Mm-hmm. It was game 3 of the playoffs, and really focused in doing the job, and we're able to close out that series.
Yeah, 3 straight games on the road in Watertown. And we had mentioned sort of that rough patch where you guys weren't coming away with victories. What was different about last weekend as a whole, those 3 games, as opposed to some of the previous series where the result might not have been in your favor?
Yeah, I think, through this course of the season, the last couple of weeks for us has really been a bit of a grind. And, you never make excuses in this game, but you also have to look at the realities. And, you look at the guys that we have out of the lineup, they're all, huge pieces to our puzzle. And, we're figuring out that next man up type of mentality. And again, the simplicity is really key for us when that situation arises. So I think it took us some time to kind of learn how to play a little bit of a more simple game. And the process started to kind of really work there last weekend in Watertown. And I think you're able to see that there.
And even with a couple of absences in the lineup from things that happened earlier on in the weekend, you guys still prevailed and still put up some big numbers. Some of those physical altercations, specifically at the end of some of those bigger victories for you guys on Saturday night, there were some extracurriculars towards the end of the game. Just thoughts on that and trying to keep your guys safe going into the rest of the year.
I mean, listen, it's nothing that our organization hasn't seen previously. Our first couple of years, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of year 2 up in Watertown, and you got Divine running around up there and taking liberties on people, and now he's doing that in the East Coast League. And we didn't have guys to match that at that point in time, so we went out and found Amesbury. And that's a big reason why we brought Ames in, and he was obviously one of the best, if not the best, at kind of protecting our players. And I think you also see what we're going through now that Ames is out of the mix, right? Teams are going to try to start to take some liberties. They're going to try to take some runs, and we got a good skilled hockey club, and it's a young group. It's a group that's driven to be the best professionals they can. So they're going to give their all. They're going to give their best. And when we get ourselves into situations where we are up 5-1, we're really going to rely on the officials to kind of tighten things up and make sure that our guys, aren't receiving the brunt of the injuries like we saw last weekend with, a broken collarbone and a concussion. And, it's stuff that we're going to have to adjust to, but we've been there before as an organization. We're either going to have to trust that the league can protect the players, or we're going to have to go out and find the next guy to do it.
It seems like a theme in the league is somewhat playing shorthanded. It seems like you guys have been down in the lineup almost every single game. It's been a very few games where you've had a full lineup. How tough is that now that we're 30 plus games into the season? You know, in the beginning of the year, you guys were still putting pieces together. Now you've played more than halfway through the season, and now you're grinding through. You guys will play 2-3 game series over the next 2 weekends, plus 2 after that, and 3 after that. So now you guys are ramping it up. How difficult is it to just go in every game shorthanded at this point of the season?
You know, it's real difficult, and what makes it more difficult is when we do it and we do things the right way, and you know, you take the toll on your players' minds and bodies, and you know, other teams don't do it. And you know, you look at Friday night last week, and Watertown plays with a full roster when they should have been a man short like us. I don't know how something like that slips through the cracks, but it did. And, you know, we had to work through that type of situation. It was unfortunately a 3-2 loss in overtime for us. But, you know, again, I thought the guys responded really well. And at these levels, like, you're going to get curveballs, you're going to get sinkers, you're going to get things that happen out of the blue. And there's nothing that we can do. You know, doesn't matter if we stick to our process, we go through our process the right way or not. You know, so we kind of adjusted, and night 2 is night 2, night 3 is night 3. So
I spoke with John Scully earlier in the week. Sort of a Swiss Army knife for you guys.
Yeah.
Whenever you need a forward, he's there. If you need someone to play defense, he's more than capable of doing that. Not sure if he can play any goalie. We haven't had to test that out yet, and don't think that you guys really want to. But how would you describe his role, and what does he bring to the team?
I mean, listen, Scully is just a guy that he's been around. He's one of those grizzled vets. He thinks the game at a high level. He's willing to play it and compete it at a high level. You know, when you look at a lot of the success that he has, it's finishing in hard areas. It's getting himself into hard areas. He's willing to put his body through, you know, that physical grind that it takes, you know, net front, along the boards, winning those battles to keep pucks alive, to allow yourself to get back to the net, to then get a touch on a puck and bury a rebound. So he's been instrumental in helping, you know, teach the simplicities of the game, and helping teach some of our other guys that you got to get to those areas if you really want to have success. And I think if you look at the success that our power play has had as of late, it's certainly not on just one guy. You know, the power play's really been clicking. We've had some really nice plays out there, but you know, a lot of our finish has been around the net, and it's been having bodies in front of the net, taking away the goalie's eyes, and scoring those playoff type of goals. So he's been instrumental in helping our guys kind of, you know, go through that process. And you know, somebody else is going to have that opportunity at some point. So you just look forward to the next man up type of mentality and success there.
Yeah, Scully with 2 power play goals last weekend, has 3 goals on the season, all of them on the power play, and all of them right in front of the net. Johnny Ruiz had 3 power play goals in the first 2 games for you, had 2 on Friday, 1 on Saturday. That unit obviously exploding. It's been the topic of conversation all season, really. I think people that have followed you guys specifically want to talk about Johnny, but want to now jump on the power play. If you followed in detail the trajectory of the power play, it's been a lot different as of late, as opposed to the beginning of the season where it was slow. And people will look at the numbers and see you guys are still 9th or 10th in the league at the bottom, but there has been improvement. You guys have been giving a bunch of opportunities. And as we've seen, when you cash in on the power play, you win by a large margin, right? You did it on Saturday, you did it on Sunday. So is there really anything different about the power play now than before, or is it just execution and going the extra mile to execute and make those plays happen?
Well, I think it's a couple things. I mean, we've made a couple adjustments that have just kind of naturally happened here, and at the same point, you know, I think our guys are just very confident, and they're seeing that, again, simplicity is really key, and not forcing plays, not trying to overhandle, not trying to do too much as an individual, but relying on the unit and the group as a whole. And I think when we do that, and when we compete, we put ourselves in the right spot. You know, we have a ton of skill out there, and a lot of threats that can certainly do a lot of damage. So I think it was really a matter of a buy-in, simplicity, and compete and getting pucks to the net within our simplicity, and the game will work itself out.
It's interesting how the race for the leaders on the power play kind of flip-flopped. Stoichevsky had caught Ruiz, then Ruiz exploding for a couple of goals last weekend, and he's leading the charge. Recently, a new dad, as was documented, missed a couple of games, comes back last weekend, is all over the score sheet. Something like dad power or something like that. I don't understand it quite yet. Still a little young for that. You might know a little bit about it. It's something where you've got someone else to play for now, and it just motivates you to keep on going.
A little bit more drive, a little bit more drive for sure. But no, I mean, it was great to see him click in, and he's a big piece of our offense. He's not the only piece, but he's a big piece. And when Johnny's firing, other teams have to key in on him, because he can win a game by himself. He can score 2, 3, or 4, and we can lock it down for 1 or 2, and game's over from there. So you got to take him away, and that helps our other players have a little bit more time and space and a little bit more fun there. So I mean, it's great to have him back. I'm sure it was good for him to get a little bit of time away with the shortened rosters this year. It's tough to kind of get that energy bar back up after a weekend. So he had that week off there, and was able to be with his family. And the boys really have been stepping up and grinding it through. But that's what we do. We're a family. We'll pick each other up. And when Johnny came back, he was there to certainly get back to work, and it was great to see him. Great to have him.
You guys play back-to-back weekends with 3 games, 11 games in 4 weekends. How do you get the players prepared for a stretch like that? Or are they pretty much used to this type of scenario from their background in hockey and just knowing the grind of the game?
Well, it just depends. I mean, if you're coming out of college, you don't really know the 3-and-3 too well. That's something that you kind of have to adjust to. But I think our guys we've been in this situation before, and we handled it pretty well last weekend. I think for us throughout the week, the only thing that changes is kind of shortening practice a little bit. But same energy, same intensity, same everything other than that, and hopefully the results will stay the same here this weekend.
We spoke about it the last time we sat down here in the Axtrix Lounge. More than midway through the season, we're approaching that final third of the year. Now you start looking at the standings, where you rank. There's only 5 teams in the Empire. 4 of them make it. You guys have been in 3rd place for the majority of the season, still trying to make your way back against the Rockers, who you will not see again this season. The push for the playoffs is here. What's the mindset going forward, knowing you might not even be able to really change your opponent, maybe just where the first couple of games are being played?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we're not able to see a team like Motor City and a team that we might face and probably will face in the playoffs. We're only going to play them twice, and we played them October, November. But listen, those are the curveballs that we're talking about, and the knuckleballs that we'll see. So the good thing, the positive, is that we just have to worry about us and focus on us, play our game. It doesn't matter the opponent that's in front of us. We need to take care of the points, and if we focus on us and we take care of what we can take care of, I believe we could catch them without even facing them.
Yeah.
So we have to focus on us, take care of us, take care of the points. That starts Friday night against an Elmira team that kind of took us for 2 games a few weeks ago, and it's time to focus in on that.
Yeah, taking care of business. You can do that against the Empire this weekend. 3 games, 2 against Elmira, as you mentioned. Then Sunday, Binghamton is here. You mentioned those 2 games against Elmira. It's been sort of 2 halves, right? The first couple of games against the River Sharks, you dominated. The last 2 didn't quite go your way. What was different between those 2 games, the losses more recently, and the previous 4, where you guys had played particularly well, had 3 wins in those 4 games?
Yeah, I think the losses a couple weeks ago, I still thought we played a pretty good brand of hockey. I thought we carried the play for probably 3/4 of the game. I think defensively we were just a little bit loose in some certain moments, and you saw a couple times where we gave up back-to-back goals in, a span of 2 or 3 shifts, right? And that's just, it's our minds not being fully engaged. And again, we're short rosters, so guys are playing a lot of hockey, and the first thing to go when you're tired is your mind. We're learning here. It's all part of the process. And I think that was a big teaching point for us when we went through that. So again, it's really about buying into the simplicities of the game, learning from what we've learned in the past, and applying that to what we need to do here today.
Where do you think your team is right now as we do enter this push for the playoffs? How are you feeling about your group overall?
Good. I mean, we need to get healthy, and it'd be nice to get healthy. But I think if you look at, the trajectory of our team, it's kind of been a steady rise. We've had a couple, dips here and there, but when you go through what we go through, on the injury front and the call-ups and all of that kind of stuff, you're gonna have to ride through some of those times. So proud of the boys for the way they ride through it, and obviously, we want to have another good weekend here on the backs of a good weekend last weekend, and just continue that steady climb. Kind of like our power play has done this year, is very similar to last year. Last year it was kind of in the bottom of the league, and then come playoff time, it was, I think, first or second. So, it's about sticking to the process, continuing to buy in, and continuing to just get better, more confident within who we are and taking care of us.
Debating asking this question because I feel like we could take up a whole edition of catching up with McCreary with this one question. We could. The question is, what are some of the differences between last year's team championship squad and this year? Maybe some challenges that you've run into. It seems like there are some differences that you guys have had to overcome. It seems like a couple more roadblocks in the way this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly break it down and be nitpicky and probably talk about it for hours if you wanted to. But, a couple things, like one, our schedule has been much different than it was last year. It's starting to take a turn for the better here, down the stretch. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. But, we've really only seen 3 or 4 teams all year. So, you can't, the good thing is you can't get away, you can't run, you can't hide, you got to get back up, you got to face it and find ways to have success. But the other thing would be, the depth, right? Like the roster size. We just have guys that are just grinding away. And, last year being able to carry 22, 23 people on the roster, if guys are fighting through stuff, you have the ability to rest them for a week and put a healthy body in there and continue that energy. And a lot of times this year, you see it through suspensions and injuries. We're playing short, and guys really have to kind of grind through, and they haven't been able to rest and regroup. So again, everybody has to go through it. We're not the only ones. That's just been the biggest change from last year. Is last year we were able to kind of stay healthy and get healthy at the right times. So that's why, it's important to get these guys healthy and get these guys back.
Totally. We'll skip the fill in the blank. We'll do another type of question. We've got a 9-game homestand coming up. Mention all these home games. You can get your tickets at danburyhattricks.com. In the month of March, there are 20 promotions, 7 games. I know we're in the back end of February, but this stretch coming up is going to be a lot of Danbury Hattricks hockey at home. We want to see you there. So, Coach, your message to the fans ahead of this homestand, what do you want to see from them, and how can you guys have a little bit of success?
Oh, I just want to see exactly what we want to see from the boys. We want to see energy, we want to see dedication, we want to see passion. Like, those are the things that we preach in our locker room, and those are things that come second nature for our fans. So guys have been kind of grinding through the road schedule and, grinding through the injuries. And, we do it to play in front of this group and in front of these fans in this building. And so to be home, in front of these guys, in front of our fans, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So can't wait for Friday night and hope you guys have the same passion that we do.
Excited to see the energy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here in Danbury. You can check out the promotional schedule, and you can buy tickets on our website at danburyhattricks.com.